Laser sights are an essential firearms training tool, clearly correcting and improving the two most important shooting fundamentals, aiming and trigger control. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, right back to you here. I'm Tom Gresham. It is Gun Talk, and yes, of course. As you might well imagine, at this point, we are talking a fair amount about what appears to be a terrorist attack in Orlando, Florida. 50 people killed, 53 people injured, according to the current numbers. Just saw a piece that ISIS has taken responsibility. They've claimed responsibility for the attack. A bar, a nightclub, frequented primarily by LBGT community. Gays, lesbians, people who often don't, for whatever reason, take care of themselves, other than the Pink Pistols, which we really like the Pink Pistols group, because they teach gun safety and responsibility and taking care of yourself. We'll talk a bit more about that as we go along here, because there's much for us to talk about. At this point, we had guests obviously lined up, and one of my favorite guests, in fact, really, honestly, truly, one of my favorite people to go out to the range with joins us right now. Jeff Hoffman from Black Hills Ammunition. Hey, Jeff, how's the world treating you?
Hey, Tom, life is good. Everything's good here.
Good deal. One thing I know we probably have talked about before, and I kind of don't want to set you up, but you're a police officer. You've worked for the police department for a number of years. In fact, I think, if I remember right, that's how you got into the ammo. You were loading your ammo for practice, right?
Well, I was buying ammunition for practice, and I was starving trying to keep my habit fed, so I had to do something different than live on a cop's wage.
Right. So you started making ammo, and then everybody else wants you to load ammo for them, and then, like everybody else, now the hobby becomes the business, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. But the good thing is, as the saying goes, if you're doing something that you love, you never work a day in your life. So
exactly,
we're blessed to be able to do something that we love doing.
Oh, before I forget, did you ever get that crazy little magnetic doohickey thing that I sent you guys? I sent you a silly little magnetic table thing. It levitates in the air. I don't know if you ever got that.
I did. That's really cute. Thank you.
That's this thing like hovers in space because it's a magnetic lift thing. That's fun. So let me ask you a question. With your background, and I guess people should know, your SWAT team, you're a police officer. Thinking about a situation as ugly as this deal in Orlando, places packed with people, and there are people who will say, well, if someone had had a gun in there, there's nothing they could have done. And every time I hear something like that, I think, you really don't understand what a trained person can do. Would you like to just touch that for a second?
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. The problem is, for the most part, the world is composed of sheep. Dave Grossman, in his book, he outlined that most people are sheep, and then you've got wolves and sheepdogs. And what we need more of in this world is sheepdogs. Sheepdogs look a lot like wolves. They have every capacity for violence, but they will never hurt a sheep. And the problem is most people are sheep, and there's not enough sheepdogs.
There it is. And a lot of us take pride in saying, okay, I'm a sheepdog. I know that I'm not as trained up as Jeff Hoffman is. I know I'm not as good as Jerry Mitchlick. I know that there are a lot of things I can't do, but at the same time, I know that there are a lot of things I can do. And given half a chance, if I can work my way in, I can at least start putting shots on target. And if nothing else, when a guy's got bullets flying at him, it kind of takes him off task.
That's exactly right, Tom. I think people tend to think they're helpless. Our society tends to breed that you let somebody else take care of you. There's nothing you can do to take care of yourself. And I think it's a fallacy that when you're faced with a threat, sometimes the best thing you can do is stand up and fight it.
There it is. Now, you, of course, were in the middle of it. You well remember the crazy times we had after the Newtown shooting, and ammo just flew off the shelves, and you were a year or more back ordered. Have you seen or heard anything in the last 4 or 5 hours that indicates we're looking at anything like that happening again? I
got a text from another prominent industry guy that thought that we would see a huge surge. I tend to disagree at this point. We've, over 35 years of business, we've seen this business runs in cycles, surges, and then it'll drop off when people get enough guns and ammo. And there's been a number of months under this president, and for the most, I don't predict that we're going to see a huge surge. It's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. He's talked enough and hasn't really been able to do anything, partly because of the great way that our founding fathers set up our Constitution. I think most people feel like he's done everything he can at this point, and they're unlikely to be spooked en masse by words. I think it's going to take action on it's going to take some sort of an act to really spook people. That's not to say there won't be an uptick in sales. I fully expect there will be an uptick in sales, but I don't see anything like the surge after Sandy Hook. Yeah,
it's interesting you say that, because I don't really worry so much about Obama now. I do worry an awful lot about Hillary Clinton, because I think where she's going with this could really be awful for us. Well, there's no think to it. It's just a done deal. It would be awful.
That's one thing that I've looked at. I think with the election coming up, we are going to see more of a surge, because people look at it. She's a new unknown, and they will hedge their bets. They'll go out and buy guns and ammo. I don't think it'll be a panic thing, but they're going to stock up again. And on the other hand, if she loses and Trump wins, I predict that you're going to see a lot of these protesters in the streets doing stupid things like burning places and trashing businesses and jumping on patrol cars, breaking the windows out, and that will spur people to buy guns and ammo. And in general, I think that's a good thing. I think our population ought to be armed. But it does strain logistics when everybody decides to buy them all at once.
Yeah, it really does. Hey, Jeff, hold on a second here. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Black Hills Ammo and some of the things you guys have been doing. And maybe give us another shooting lesson, because you're awfully good at that. We're talking with Jeff Hoffman from Black Hills Ammunition. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
FN handguns bear the DNA of legends, of John Browning, the father of modern firearms, of the artisans and craftsmen who brought his genius to life, of the brave souls who defended our freedom on the front lines for the last 100 years, and the brave souls who defend it on the home front today. FN handguns, the DNA of legends in the palm of your hand. Ask for FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
What's important in a gun safe? Security, reliability, safety, good looks? It all comes down to quality. Quality that's built in from the beginning. Liberty Safe has made quality products for 29 years right here in the USA. Trust your guns, your valuables, and your safety to Liberty Safe. Did you ever regret buying quality? I didn't think so. Get the best. Whatever your budget, get a Liberty Safe. LibertySafe.com.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Hardcore tactical professionals who put their lives on the line every day depend on Surefire. For decades, Surefire has built the first and finest professional-grade flashlights, weapon-mounted lights, hearing protection, and suppressors. We build the best because lives depend on it, and we know failure is not an option. We design, engineer, and manufacture Surefire products right here in the U.S. For you, for your loved ones, Surefire. American built, American strong. Surefire.com.
All right, back with you. We're visiting with Jeff Hoffman from Black Hills Ammunition. Check it out, Black-Hills, that's black-hills.com, for really, really, really good ammo. Jeff, I've told many people, said, look, if your rifle won't shoot, then put Black Hills ammo in it. If it still won't shoot, you need to do some work on your rifle because your ammo just shoots, man.
We work on that, Tom. We try to make sure that our ammunition works in every gun out there. That's a challenge for a ammo manufacturer.
Yeah.
You can't just load for a particular gun. We have to make sure it's pretty friendly in pretty much everything.
Well, and of course, you being a long-range shooter, I mean, you're the sniper or counter-sniper guy on the local police department, so, you know, you understand the need for accuracy, so you're not going to let any ammo out of there that's not accurate. Besides, and you know, you ought to at least mention, I know you don't like to talk about it that much, you do a lot of special stuff for a lot of special forces guys, don't you?
We do. That's a very significant part of our business.
These guys come in and they need special ammo that can reach way out there, and you make ammo that works for them.
We do. That's part of. They come to us when they need something different. We don't make any ball ammunition. There's people that do that much more efficiently than we can. But when there's a need for something that will do something to solve a particular problem, that's where we come in. I
like the way you work your way around that with Jeff. A need for ammo to do a certain thing in a certain situation, and they actually do come. I mean, I'm joking, but they actually do come to you and say, "Look, we need a load that does this specific thing and a bullet performance that does this specific thing," and you have the team who can actually create a load that does exactly what they need.
We have a lot of friends in the industry. One thing that surprises people, they'll view our plant and do some business with us and say, "How many engineers you got?" And I kind of shrug my shoulders and say, "We don't have any engineers. We borrow engineers. We have lots of friends in the industry, and we just know what the ammunition has to do, and then we go to smart people that have 100 years experience in their particular area and say, help us out here."
Well, the other thing, when you go through your factory there, and I've been through a number of times, you're looking around and you're going, well, look, there's Nosler bullets and Barnes bullets and bullets from everybody. You can pick whatever bullets you need to make the load work.
Not only bullets, but the casings, the primers, the propellant. We're free to choose from the best in the entire industry.
All right, if I wanted to say, I want to get started in long-range shooting. That looks like fun out there. And I don't have a gun. I don't have a rifle. What do I want to start with?
I wouldn't get too carried away buying really expensive gear. You can do well with there's a number of companies that make good rifles. You know, you look over their line and pick the ones they recommend as the best. But the best thing would probably be a 223, surprisingly, or a 308 bolt gun by one of the reputable manufacturers, maybe lean towards a heavier barrel.
Right.
And you can learn a lot with a 223 or 308 really economically, as opposed to saying, you know what, I want to be able to shoot at 1,500 yards. I think I need a 338 Lapua.
Right.
Well, that's going to be an expensive learning process where you can learn pretty cheaply with 223s or 308s. And then I would top that with a really good turret adjustable scope from one of the top names. And somebody once said there's two things you ought to spend as much as you can afford on. That's boots and optics. And he was certainly correct on optics. Don't be afraid to spend more for the scope than you spend for the rifle.
Right. One thing that you're leaving out, it's right between the lines of what you're saying there. You keep talking about, well, you could get this and get a good rig, and then you can learn a lot, and then you talk, and then you say, and then you can learn a lot. The part that you're leaving out is there's a lot of good rifles, and there's some really good ammo out there and scopes, but it's still the person pulling the trigger at the end.
Yep, it's kind of a triad. You need a good rifle that's capable. You need good ammunition, and you need somebody that knows what he's doing with them. That's the reason why it's so hard for a gun manufacturer and ammo manufacturer to give accuracy guarantees, because it's not dependent solely on the rifle or the ammunition. It's dependent on all three of those things.
Well, you get the same calls I do. A guy calls and says, you know, my rifle just won't shoot. It's shooting XYZ groups at such and such. And I'm trying to find a way to gently and gracefully say, well, how do I know that you can actually shoot?
That's a touchy topic.
It is. I mean, and you guys get those calls. You know, the guy says, well, this just didn't work. And you're going, well, and then eventually, you know, they send you the rifle or the ammo and you check it and go, I hate to tell you this, man, but it's all working perfectly for us.
Yep, and we take those seriously, because you can't poo-poo them, because the guy might actually have a problem. But most of the time, when the guy sends the ammunition in and we test it, it works perfectly. It's you know, maybe it was a compatibility gun with his compatibility thing with his gun.
Right,
You'll see that sometimes. It might be a great gun, might be great ammo. But guns have personalities. I was talking with an honest-goodness scientist one time, and I said that, and he said, absolutely not. He said, guns are inanimate objects. There's a mechanical explanation for everything. And I said, you know what, you're absolutely right. But in absence of me knowing the precise mechanical explanation for a certain issue, guns have personalities.
That's right. Some of them are cranky, and some of them are just easy going. That's exactly right. All right, well, Jeff, tell me what's new. What have you guys been doing? I know you load a lot of ammo. People would be amazed at how much you turn out of that place.
We've one of the exciting things that we're doing is last year we introduced some handgun bullets that are really strikingly different. They're non-deforming, non-expanding bullets, lighter than normal weight, and with a special flute design on the nose. And the thing that is surprising about this is these are outperforming every hollow point. The bullet is very efficient. It doesn't waste energy. You can have a lighter bullet, which means much higher velocity. And typically, when you talk about light bullets, people say, well, that won't penetrate very far.
Right.
Well, the reason it doesn't penetrate very far is most conventional bullets, if you use a lightweight bullet, it'll fragment, overexpand, and fail to penetrate. But with this non-deforming, non-expanding, sharp-nosed bullet, it will penetrate. It doesn't have a hollow point that can fail. The bullet won't blow apart. Matter of fact, when we recover them from gel, you could literally load them again. But they're very efficient. The flutes go into a little curve at the bottom where it diverts the tissue radially out from the bullet, and surprisingly, that leaves a wound cavity, a temporary cavity in gelatin, bigger than any hollow point in the same caliber.
What are they made of?
The solid copper.
Okay, you know what? You showed me those when I was there last year. You showed me some ballistic gel pictures and some things with that. I was knocked out. I mean, you had some 40 cal stuff that looked like it was 223 type of temporary wound channels. Yep,
those, and one of the excellent places for applying this technology is in things where hollow point bullets typically don't work very well, like snubby 38s. Where it's kind of a roll of the dice whether the bullet's going to expand or not.
Right.
This bullet can't fail. There's no hollow point to fail to expand, and if you're on the other end, if you went to a light bullet and it maybe overexpanded and failed to penetrate deeply enough to reach where it needed to stop the threat, these bullets don't do that. They will penetrate reliably to the same depth. And we're getting nearly, depending on the individual gun, we're getting nearly 1,000 feet per second or over 1,000 feet per second out of 2-inch revolvers, which is just crazy.
Wow.
And of course, energy is a function of velocity and mass, but more so with velocity. So we can get some really good energy deposited on target out of snubby handguns. It's really going to revitalize defensive pistols.
Well, it also reduces recoil, doesn't it?
Yeah, with the light bullet there, it's really a modest recoil.
So what do you call these?
We use the same term that the Lehigh Defense put on them, and that's extreme defense. We figured it kind of a tip of the hat to them. We worked with Dave Fricke, who has a company called Lehigh Defense,
mm-hmm.
and he originally came to us about a year ago with a design, and then we said, well, that's pretty good, but if we did some things, we could make these better. And about 5 iterations later, we came up with the current design, and so we worked on it jointly, and we figured we'd share the name with him.
I'm looking on your website. It looks like you got it in 38 special and 380 at this point. How about other calibers?
We've been doing some testing. We're seeing some great things, and we'll introduce some more at time of SHOT Show. I don't want to give it away ahead of time, but we're working on several others, and we're seeing some really good results from them.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you couldn't join us. So I know that you had a conflict, but going out and shooting, firing some rounds from tanks is going to be a fun thing to do in the next few weeks. We're going to be doing that for our Gun Venture show.
Oh, that sounded like a hoot. When I first saw the email, you said, would you like to come shoot tanks? And I thought, well, actually, I did that once, but then I learned you were talking about actually shooting from inside of the tank instead of from the outside shooting at it.
That's right, firing the tank gun. We're going to be doing that. So I tell you what, we'll find something else fun. We'll get together and do it because we always have a ball when we do TV together, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, you bet. Look forward to it.
All right, look,
I'm sorry I couldn't make the hunt.
Yeah, I know. We'll do something else. Look, best to the family, and thank you for joining us. And I appreciate you being willing to weigh in on the aspect of, bring your police officer experience to this. It helps us understand. Thank you so much, man.
You bet. Thank you, Tom.
All right, take care. Jeff Hoffman, Black Hills Ammunition. Good people, good family, good company. Man, good ammo. Holy cow. All right, we're going to open the doors. If you want to talk about this massacre, this terrorist attack in Orlando, everybody's talking about it. Don't know. Obviously, the usual players are going to have the usual reaction to it on the political front. Hillary's going to try to use that to push her gun ban agenda. Not gun control, gun ban agenda. Obama will piggyback on it, but probably won't be able to get anything done. We'll see. We'll see. What is your take? What are you hearing? And what are you prepared to talk about when you go to work tomorrow? 866-TALK-GUN. When they challenge you about this, what are you going to say? Be right back.
Want your opinion to make a difference? Log on to our website and take the Gun Talk poll, www.guntalk.com. Now, once again, opinion page regular contributor for the Washington Times, here's Tom.
All right, let's open the doors. We can talk about this terrorist attack. I hesitate to even call it a shooting. It's a terrorist attack. That'd be like calling 9/11 a regular commercial flight. Not even slightly. People are going to get all wrapped around the axle on this one because you have the added aspect of it being an LBGT bar nightclub. That's going to complicate things for those who want to take a stand, use this for their agenda, to push for something. There's going to be some tiptoeing around on this. We'll see how that all develops. Of course, I come to this from a very practical viewpoint. I look at it and say, okay, I don't think you can stop somebody from coming into a place. In fact, online, a guy just asked, he said, well, he had an AR-15. How does somebody get an AR-15 into a nightclub? I said, well, it's really easy. You shoot the guy at the door, and then you walk in. Oh. How is it that people can't imagine this stuff? How is it that they think, well, the guy at the door would have stopped the fellow who had the gun? Not if the guy with the gun just shoots him. It's happened in D.C. It's happened at various places. It happened at the, I think it was U.S. Capitol. Walked up, shot the guy at the door, and then walked right in. Which is why when they say, well, we have security, my response is, I'm not impressed. If you don't have, quite honestly, 2 armed people at every door, with a lock-in and lock-out door where people can walk in. The front door is locked, the back door, they're locked into a cubicle, and then they walk through. That's real security. And even then, this guy was a security guard. They're telling us now this guy was a security guard. Now, it sounds like he wasn't working that night, but what if he had been? What is your protection from this? Oh, we're going to call 911. Great. That worked. It took them 3 hours to get this guy. 3 hours. I do not have to explain to you. Anybody has at least that much imagination of what happens when you give a guy 3 hours to kill people. But what if you say, well, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to stop that, at which point I'm going to shoot you. 30 seconds. I don't think you can kill as many people in 30 seconds. Well, what happens in 30 seconds? I'm going to work my way through the crowd, and I'm going to do whatever I get. People say, oh, you're not going to do that. People are going to be running everywhere. Yeah, I know. No guarantees, right? No guarantees. No guarantee that you get to come home today. No matter where you go, no matter what you do. If you drive in a car, no guarantees you get to come home today. But can you make a difference? Will you be a sheepdog instead of a sheep? I don't know. Personal thing. Line 3, Jim, Farmington, New Mexico. What do you think, Jim?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
All right. I think, first of all, we're talking about that nightclub. I think ISIS is behind that.
You think what?
I think that ISIS.
Oh, yeah. So they've already taken credit for it.
Yeah. Hey, but that's not what I called about.
Okay.
I called about the word treason. And if you're a congressman or a senator or president of the States, and you take an oath to get into that office, you say that you are bound to defend, protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help you God. And I think that right there causes treason.
Jim, look, I understand. I think you and I may have had this conversation before. It's not treason. I mean, look, we can say that's a treasonous act. It's not. It doesn't qualify under the definition of the term. No one's ever going to get anybody convicted of treason on something like this. And man, I hate to say this, but it makes us sound foolish when we say things like that, which are simply not going to happen. That's not how we win this battle. We're never going to convict the president of treason. It's not going to happen. So we waste our effort, and frankly, we waste some of our image when we converse about such things. And I hate to do this to you, man, but I'm just telling you, this is not a winner for us from a PR standpoint or from an actual legal standpoint. We have to figure out what wins. We have to figure out what works. Maybe you look at this and you say, okay, let's take a page out of their book, the Saul Alinsky Never Let a Crisis Go to Waste book, and say, maybe we get the LBGT community on board with us around the country and say, you are being targeted. People want to kill you. They want to drag you behind a car until you are dead. They want to string you up. They want to strap you to a fence. You are crazy if you don't defend yourself. And you must use your considerable political power to make sure no one strips you of the ability to protect yourself individually. And certainly ignore the nonsense that comes from any agency, any group that says, we will protect you. Simple as that. Julie, don't go far. We're going to get to you when we come back. We got James lined up. We do have room for you to join us right now. 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from Springfield Armory is 2 guns in 1. Use as your concealed carry gun with a compact magazine and use the extended magazine for home defense. Carry 13 rounds of 9mm in the compact magazine and a whopping 19 rounds in the extended magazine. To see the entire family of Springfield Armory XDM pistols, go to SpringfieldArmory.com. That's SpringfieldArmory.com.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
Brownells has always given you an advantage. With their huge selection of forever guaranteed gun parts, ammunition, shooting accessories, and more. And now, they're offering you the Edge. For just $49.95, Brownells Edge covers your standard shipping and any return shipping cost for 1 year. Brownells Edge members also receive discount expedited shipping and exclusive offers. Get the Edge today by visiting brownells.com/edge.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis. Whether you're unbalanced, evading a threat, or engaging from behind cover, a laser sight aids in keeping you on target. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn more about why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
All right, a little news for you here. Welcome to KOHI 1600 AM in St. Helens, Oregon. Now they're picking up the third hour of Gun Talk on Saturdays, 9 till noon p.m. Or 9 till noon, yes. Is noon p.m. or a.m.? That's a good question. Jim's over here. You look like you're pained. You're working on this. Is that P? Is it A? Okay, he says P. All right. And also we have, for your viewing pleasure, our new channels on Roku and Amazon Fire Players. Just do a search for Gun Talk. You can add the new channel. You can see hundreds, if not thousands, of our videos there. Apple TV coming soon. Also, of course, get the Gun Dealio app for your smartphone. We're doing some pretty cool deals there, some specials, exclusives. There's a little place there. You go to menu and you go exclusives, and you can see the exclusive deals that are not available anywhere else in the universe, only for people who have Gun Dealio. Let's go to line 2. Julie's with us out of Pensacola, Florida. Julie, thank you for your patience. How are you?
I'm well, Tom. It's the sixth state of this country that has prompted me to call you today. I do have a concealed carry permit, and I carry a .38 revolver, Lady Smith, with the Crimson Trace laser sight. Mm-hmm. And I never leave my house without it, mainly because I've got 5 small kids that I homeschool, so they're always with me. But I'm worried now that 5 rounds may not be enough.
Smart lady. I like revolvers. But I agree with you. Put yourself in that situation where 5, let me tell you, when we do our first-person defender shows, 5 rounds goes by in about 3/4 of a second. It's like bang, 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 gone. And now you're going, ooh, wow, there's still a problem here. What do I do? So I guess the question for you is, where are you going with this? Have you looked at some pistols? Do you know what you want?
No, this is based on what's happened last night. Finally, that's what prompted me to think I really have to consider another option. And I don't know that I can conceal a much larger gun. I'm a small person, but I was wondering, what if I keep carrying my revolver and then have a second larger gun in my purse empty, and then keep the clip on my person in an emergency? Is that a good option?
Well, what would be the purpose of keeping it empty? What are we trying to guard against?
Because of my kids.
Okay.
My kids are 2 to 8 years old,
Right.
5 of them. So I feel like if I have my gun loaded, it has to be on me.
I agree with you. How do you carry it on you now with the revolver?
I use the flashbang bra holster.
Okay. Yeah, anything bigger could be problematic. I'm not going to even delve into how big can we get with the gun, and you know where I'm going with that.
Yes.
So
I have an ankle holster also, but I haven't felt like that was as secure to use.
There are some decent ankle holsters. Okay, do you like your revolver? Do you like shooting your revolver?
I love it.
Okay, I think maybe we may have gone somewhere and figured something out here. If you are okay with the flashbang holster, which is a bra holster for those who don't know, what you might want to do is get a second identical revolver and find a good ankle holster that will work. There are some out there. Crossbreed has them. There's a little bitty outfit. What was it called? Renegade Holsters. They went out of business. They made a really good holster. And the guys at Wilderness Tactical online, Wilderness Tactical, they picked it up. Very comfortable ankle holster. I would say that might not be a bad solution. That way you have complete control over both of them. The other thing that happens is that depending on where you are and what's going on, one or the other of those guns may be easier for you to get to in a particular situation. So I would love to be able to steer you into getting a bigger gun, but I am going to give you a huge round of applause in thinking about the security of your gun when you have kids around. If you have a gun in your purse, I hate purse carry. Because to your point, you're not always really in total control of your purse, are you? Sometimes you put it down, it's next to your foot, it's next to you on the chair, but you're not really in complete control of it.
Right. But what if it was a bigger gun in there and I had the clip concealed on me, and so I could, first step revolver, second step the clip to put in the bigger gun if, in a worst case scenario.
It's not necessarily a bad idea. Okay, I'm not going to say it's a bad idea. It's not optimal, but it's not a terrible idea. I'm going to recommend that you get what they call a mid-size 9mm semi-auto, because you sound like somebody who would like to shoot anyway. Get you a mid-size, and we're talking about not the teeny tiny 9s, but not a full size, and start shooting it and see how you like it. And if you like it, you say, yeah, I can do this. And then you might want to experiment with carrying it unloaded and carrying a magazine on your person somewhere in a pocket or something, with the idea that you would start with the revolver, go to that. I think what you're going to end up doing, I think where you're going to end up with this, and it's a good thing, frankly, is that you're going to say, I really like the 9, and this makes a lot of sense, and I have to figure out a way to carry it, and I may have to change my mode of dress. And I know with women that's a lot more difficult. Guys can get away with sloppy T-shirts and things hanging out. But I just think as an experiment, and you sound like somebody who would like to try a different gun anyway, get yourself a nice polymer mid-size Springfield XD Mod 2 or a Smith & Wesson Shield or one of those. There's a whole bunch of nice ones out there. Try that, shoot it for a while, see what you think. And practice at the range with the idea of pulling out an unloaded gun, putting a magazine in it, racking the slide, and getting into the fight. And imagine you've just shot somebody 5 times or shot at them 5 times, and they were not thoroughly impressed with what you did. They're probably ticked off, and you don't have a lot of time. The idea of drawing and loading a gun may not be what you want to do. So, Julia, thank you so much. I wish you all the luck in the world with this. Congratulations on looking at the reality of the Orlando terrorist shooting and saying, 5 rounds is probably not going to be enough. Let me just tell you, it's not. If you're lucky, it would be. I wouldn't count on it. I don't even like the sound of a single stack at this point. That's why I went back to double stack guns for my regular carry. 866-TALK-GUN. What do you think about the Orlando terror shooting? All right, back with you. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. It's Gun Talk, of course. Line 1, James with us out of Oklahoma. Hey, James.
Hey, I called to find out why Obama, all of a sudden, he just decided that he was going to call this a terrorist attack, but he never called Fort Hood, Texas, terrorist attack a terrorist attack. It took him over almost 5 years before he did that.
Yeah, I know.
It's frustrating. I heard it on the news. He come on my radio this morning. He said it was a terrorist attack.
Well, that's because you couldn't pretend this wasn't. This guy, was out there as an ISIS sympathizer. ISIS has already come out and claimed it, claimed credit for it. He couldn't try to bury this one and make it some kind of domestic thing. He couldn't say it's as a gun control issue. There will be some who will try. Hillary Clinton most certainly will try to make this a gun control issue. Yes, because, of course, terrorists always want to go to Big Bob's gun and pawn shop to get guns because, of course, there's no other way. Oh, yeah, except for the shiploads of guns that they have, full automatic, RPGs, tanks, armored personnel carriers. Yeah, they have those. But they need to go to the local gun store to buy a gun. So that's why. He couldn't. This is one that he just couldn't do that to. I appreciate the call. Dan, line 4 at Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hey, Dan.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great.
So my girlfriend and I were recently having a conversation about gun purchasing, and I guess we tend to disagree with each other on it, so I wanted to call and get your opinion on things.
All right.
So she asked why isn't it mandatory for there to be like training, like driver's training when you go to purchase a gun, like for first-time gun buyers?
What'd you tell her?
Well, I guess I think people do need to have training, but I don't think it needs to be, or I don't think it should be mandatory by the government to, make us all do that. The only reason I worry about that is, I just fear that it'd limit some people, particularly lower income individuals and families from buying a gun to protect themselves.
Let me put it in a different way for you. The whole idea here is this is a constitutional right. It is more than that. It is the ability to stay alive. It is a natural right of humans to protect themselves. Why should we have to go through training to exercise a constitutional right? Should we be required to get government indoctrination and training before we use the internet? Because that's kind of where we are. That's what we're talking about here, is we're going to require you to get government training or government-mandated training before you could exercise your constitutional right. That'd be like saying we have to get some training. We have to put you through, let's say 30 hours of lectures before you get to vote. Ask her if she would be okay with that. So you get the whole, look, you get the whole, that's different. No, it's not different. It's a constitutionally guaranteed right. Just like free speech, just like using the internet, just like writing an article, just like standing out there and speaking in public, and you don't have to get government permission to do any of those. Now, is it good to get training? Certainly, it's good to get training. But at the same time, we shouldn't be mandating it, because here's the deal. If they can say you need an hour of training, they can say you need 100 hours of training. Once you let them in and say, yes, training should be required, then they can make it so onerous that nobody can get it. Hey, thanks for the call. All right, wind it up, because we're going to have some fun in the next hour. It's going to be a full hour of after-show type show. Call us, 866-TALK-GUN. The loonies have been released from the pen.